What's up, Hippo lovers? Another update for Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, and it will be a controversial one. We have some very good things, and one thing where I'm not sure if we could have not gone for something better. Let's just simply jump directly into civilization balance, right? We have cannon galleons, projectiles now moving faster, makes lots of sense. I don't really know, they didn't contribute that much in water fights simply because they don't do splash damage. You couldn't really micro well even against traps or bombard cannons, so I think that makes lots of sense. Big thing that the devs did focus on 4 different buffs for longswords / twin swordmen, simply because they wanted to address the eagles without making the eagles weaker. Longswords are a good option against eagle warrior play, and twin swordman champion a good option against elite eagle warrior then, but getting there is simply too costly. So now melee armor increased a bit, not sure if that will change too much, and longsword cost and supply cost decreased a bit. Those aren't the biggest changes, and I think I would have gone a bit in a different direction. I think I would have given like longswords +1 attack in general and -1 attack extra against eagles, so they are a bit better for others. Maybe make the longsword upgrade even cheaper, but I think we're going into the right direction. Another argument would have been make eagles just 25 foot instead of 20 foot. I think could have been fine as well. Then we have Bulgarians. Krapos now do more damage in the first shot, less damage in the second shot. I don't know why. I think they will have a good reason. Burgundian Vineyards no longer converts half of the food stockpile to gold, still enables farmers to generate a small tickle of gold. I have not seen that tech in quite some time, so no strong feelings there. Strong feelings though with Portuguese Vitória. Hit points decreased from 5.2 to 2.7. This is not addressing the issue. The issue was that someone can simply generate resources while the other person can't gather anymore. I think we need change in Vitória, and that's not HP, because how often do we see Vitórias go down to raids or siege? It's not that often, and if we see that, is the HP such a difference? I don't know. Then we have Sicilians now losing their instant transport ship, +5 line of sight, and 50% cost reduction. I personally didn't mind the instant spawn, but yeah, I can see lots of people had arguments against that, and it's not really the Age of Empires thing to do, right? To have something spawn instantly. Vietnamese late game will be buffed. Chatras will do or give 100 extra HP instead of 50. That's all about balancing. No major steps in my opinion, but we are fine there. One change we simply had is, well, the Red Bull maps can be played in normal maps now, and Arabia balance changes. You can look at those in detail. Basically, we have more woodlines spawning in the center, and yeah, it looks a bit diverse. I did load like 5 maps, and it felt like there are some crazy Drush FC maps now with like defensive gold and berries and woodlines, and you don't have the punishing hill in front anymore. I think that it is more diverse now, so I like which direction we are going. Yeah. Then we have what? Spec chat I wanted. Spec chat. Send me. Spectator chat is now activated. Choo choo. Congratulations. So I did test that in the game and in Capture H. It works. So happy for your community games, and if you're spectating games, that will now work as intended. Congrats. Didn't even take us 2 years. So people complaining, it has been 2 years. No, it has not been. It's like 23 months only. And now we are getting into the major issue of this patch and the very tricky thing here. And I don't know why I can't scroll for a bit. ALT+F4 dodging. So basically what that is, if you get matched in on the ladder, people often said, okay, I don't like this map, simply close their game, and the opponent did have to re-queue again. Pretty bad, because if you have a favorite map and you finally get to see Black Forest and your opponent dodges you, then you can't play this. Players who alter 4 out of queues will receive progressive timeouts, and their ability to rejoin the queue will be affected depending on the frequency with which they disconnect work around the matchmaking system. So basically, they will track, okay, how are people queue dodging? How do we need to punish them? How long are they not playing? What this resulted in they're not dodging in the queue anymore, but waiting for Black Forest to load, and then instantly resign. So you even waste if you're losing another minute and you're losing. Yeah, you're emotionally more invested, right? You finally get to your Black Forest game. The queue is ticking down to 0 seconds. You have the civilization, you're loading into the game. Opponent instantly resigns. And apparently that happened multiple times. And now some people say like, oh, why are we not punishing people that resign early? Well, it's simply there are still a lot of drops, and the person could just, for example, delete everything, and then they don't like disconnect, but they simply are defeated. And where do you draw the line there? It gets really complex. How I think this issue should have been solved, it is simply matchmaking right now works. Player A gets someone close to their rating ideally, player B, and then the game compares, okay, which are possible maps that I can draw for you. I think how to change this, but also with problems, is if we just set a map pool, and then you try to find someone that is as close as possible to you when it comes to rating. And if there are 7 maps, you can ban up to 6 maps, and the game simply tells you, you banned 6 out of 7 maps. This will end up in higher queue times. Be aware of that. And people will get problems, but people don't have to order 4 because they get exactly what they want to play. And we have limited time in our lives, right? I'm full-time pro. I'm not that affected by that. But if you're the working person that wants to have one chill Black Forest game in the evening, and then simply can't play it, and you're happy to wait, it is tricky. And other people have better versions with dealing with this. I think Age of Empires people simply want to play different maps, and the problem is like, oh, just make a queue for a random map, just make an arena queue. We don't have the player base that will work. It is not easy, and I think this will result into more and more discussion. Maybe you have some ideas, maybe you can post something in the YouTube comments below. And it's not easy. It's not easy. Goodbye. Confused and thinking hippo lovers.